My mother-in-law said she was just helping with the paperwork. A week later, she was telling everyone, family, friends, business contacts, that my company was hers, that I'd been mismanaging it, that she'd had to step in and take control. I smiled. I nodded. I let her enjoy the moment. Then I handed her the contract and watched her face turn pale. My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 33 years old, and I'm a business consultant specializing in operational restructuring and contract law. I've spent the last decade helping small businesses navigate growth, mergers, and acquisitions. I read contracts the way most people read text messages, quickly, thoroughly, and with an eye for what's hidden between the lines. I built my consulting firm from nothing, and my mother-in-law tried to take it from me. I should have seen it coming. But when you're drowning in work, when you're juggling client meetings and proposal deadlines and trying to keep your marriage from falling apart, you miss things, small things, warning signs. Like the way my mother-in-law, Patricia, started showing up at my office unannounced. Like the way she'd ask innocent-sounding questions about my business operations. Like the way she'd offer to help with administrative tasks I never asked her to do. I thought she was being supportive. Maternal, even. Patricia had always been involved, sometimes too involved, but I'd chalked it up to her personality. She was a woman who liked control, who needed to feel useful. I didn't realize she was planning a hostile takeover of my business. Not until it was almost too late. I met my husband, Eric, 6 years ago at a networking event in Denver. He worked in commercial real estate. I was building my consulting practice. We were both ambitious, driven, focused on our careers. It felt like a good match. His mother, Patricia, was a force of nature. She'd raised Eric as a single parent after his father left when he was 10. She'd built a successful career in pharmaceutical sales, retired early, and spent her time managing rental properties and meddling in Eric's life. When we got engaged, Patricia made it clear she had opinions about everything: the venue, the guest list, my dress, our honeymoon destination. "I just want what's best for my son," she'd say with that smile that never quite reached her eyes. Eric would shrug it off. "That's just how she is. She means well." I bit my tongue. I smiled. I told myself it would get better after the wedding. It didn't. Patricia had a key to our house. Eric had given it to her for emergencies. She'd let herself in unannounced, rearrange our kitchen cabinets, leave passive-aggressive notes about things she thought we were doing wrong. "I noticed you're out of milk. I picked some up. You really should keep better stock of basics. The garden needs weeding. I took care of it for you. I found some bills on the counter. You should really be more organized with your paperwork." Every visit felt like an inspection. Every comment felt like criticism wrapped in concern. But I kept quiet. Because Eric loved his mother. Because she'd sacrificed so much for him. Because making waves would only cause tension in my marriage. That was my first mistake. 2 years ago, I left the consulting firm where I'd been working and started my own practice. Hayes Consulting. Just me, a home office, and a client list I'd built through years of networking and reputation. I specialized in helping family-owned businesses navigate succession planning and operational challenges. It was risky. The overhead was low, but so was the security. No steady paycheck, no benefits. Just me betting on myself. Eric was supportive. Mostly. "Are you sure about this?" he'd asked when I told him. "You're walking away from a stable job. I'm walking toward something better. What if it doesn't work out?" "Then I'll figure it out. I always do." He'd nodded, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. Patricia was less subtle. "Starting your own business at your age?" she'd said over Sunday dinner. "That's quite a risk, especially for a woman." I'd smiled tightly. "I'm good at what I do." "I'm sure you are, dear, but the failure rate for small businesses is quite high, especially in consulting. You'll be competing against established firms with resources you don't have." "I'm aware of the challenges. I just want you to be realistic. You have Eric to think about, If this doesn't work out, it'll affect him too. Eric had stayed silent. He always did when his mother criticized me. That should have been a warning sign. For the first year, Hayes Consulting thrived. I landed 3 major clients in the first 6 months. By the end of the year, I doubled my revenue and hired a part-time assistant. I was working 16-hour days, but I loved it. I was building something that was mine. Patricia's comments shifted from concern to something else. "You're working so much, Rebecca. When do you have time for Eric? You really should delegate more. You're going to burn yourself out. I hope you're keeping good records. The IRS is very particular about small business taxes." Always framed as concern, always delivered with that smile. I ignored it. I was too busy succeeding to worry about Patricia's opinions. Then, 6 months ago, things got complicated. One of my biggest clients, a manufacturing company going through a merger, needed intensive support. Daily calls, weekly on-site visits, constant contract revisions. I was drowning in paperwork. Eric suggested I hire help. "You need someone to handle the administrative stuff," he said. "You're spending too much time on paperwork and not enough on actual consulting. I can't afford a full-time admin right now." "What about my mom? She's got time. She's good with paperwork, and she'd probably do it for free." I hesitated. "I don't know if that's a good idea." "Why not? She's family. She wants to help. She's also very particular about how things should be done. She just wants to be useful. Give her something small, filing, data entry. It'll make her feel involved." I should have said no, but I was exhausted, overwhelmed, and Eric was right. I needed help. So I said yes. That was my second mistake. Patricia started coming to my office twice a week. At first, she stuck to what I'd asked her to do: filing documents, organizing client folders, scanning contracts. She was efficient, meticulous, and surprisingly low maintenance. "This is wonderful, Rebecca," she'd say. "I'm so glad I can help." I started trusting her with more. Scheduling calls, sending routine emails, tracking billable hours. She never complained, she never overstepped, until she did. 3 months ago, I was preparing a proposal for a new client, a regional healthcare network looking to streamline their operations. It was a big contract, 6 figures, the kind of project that could define my business for the next year. Patricia offered to help with the formatting. "You focus on the content," she said. "I'll make sure it looks professional." I handed her the draft. She spent hours on it, adjusting margins, creating charts, adding a cover page with the Hayes Consulting logo. When she showed me the final version, it looked perfect. "This is great, Patricia. Thank you." "Of course, dear. Anything for family." I submitted the proposal. 2 weeks later, I got the contract. I was elated. This was the biggest deal I'd ever landed. Patricia was thrilled too. Almost too thrilled. "This is wonderful news, Rebecca. You should celebrate." "I will, once the paperwork is finalized." "Let me help with that. You've got enough on your plate." I hesitated. The contract is pretty complex. I usually handle it myself. "I understand, but I can at least organize the documents, make sure everything's in order before you sign." It seemed reasonable, helpful even, so I let her. That was my third mistake. Patricia took over the contract logistics. She coordinated with the client's legal team. She organized the signature pages. She created a folder with all the relevant documents: scope of work, payment terms, liability clauses, termination provisions. "Everything's ready," she told me one Friday afternoon. "You just need to review and sign." I was in back-to-back client calls that day. I glanced at the folder. Everything looked in order. The contract terms matched what we'd negotiated. The payment schedule was correct. I signed. Patricia witnessed my signature, as she'd done with other contracts before. Standard procedure. All set, she said brightly. I'll get this submitted to the client. Thank you, Patricia. I really appreciate your help. Anything for you, dear. She left my office with the signed contract, and I didn't think about it again. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the client. Rebecca, hi. It's Karen from the Healthcare Network. I just wanted to confirm, you're bringing Patricia Hayes onto the project as a co-consultant? I froze. I'm sorry, what? Patricia Hayes. Your mother-in-law, right? She's listed as a principal partner in the contract. I assumed you'd be working together on this. My heart started pounding. Can you send me a copy of the contract? Of course. Hang on. A minute later, the document appeared in my inbox. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. The contract listed 2 consultants, Rebecca Hayes and Patricia Hayes. Under business structure, it described Hayes Consulting as a partnership between myself and Patricia, with equal decision-making authority and equal profit distribution. There was a clause I didn't remember seeing before. In the event of dispute or incapacity of one partner, the other partner shall assume full operational control of the business. At the bottom, 2 signatures. Mine and Patricia's, but I'd never signed this version. The contract I'd reviewed had listed me as the sole consultant. There'd been no mention of Patricia, no partnership clause, no profit sharing. Someone had swapped the documents, and I knew exactly who. I called Patricia immediately. Rebecca, how are you, dear? We need to talk. Now. Of course. Is everything all right? Come to my office, today. An hour later, she was sitting across from my desk, looking concerned. What's wrong, Rebecca? You sounded upset on the phone. I slid the contract across the desk. What is this? She glanced at it. That's the Healthcare Network contract. You signed it 2 weeks ago. This isn't the contract I signed. What do you mean? The version I reviewed listed me as the sole consultant. This version lists both of us as equal partners. Patricia's expression didn't change. I'm not sure what you're talking about, dear. The contract was changed after I signed it, and you're the only person who had access to it. She folded her hands in her lap. Rebecca, I think you're confused. You signed this exact document. I was there. I reviewed a different version. Perhaps you were mistaken. You were very busy that day. Lots of calls, lots of stress. It's easy to overlook details. I stared at her. Are you saying I didn't read my own contract? I'm saying you might have missed something. It happens. Patricia. She leaned forward, her voice soft, almost pitying. Rebecca, I think the pressure of running this business is getting to you. You've been working so hard, maybe too hard. It's affecting your memory, your judgment. I felt my hands start to shake, with anger, with disbelief. I know what I signed. Do you? Because the client seems to think I'm part of this project, and the contract clearly states I am. She smiled. That same smile that never reached her eyes. Maybe it's time to admit you need more help than you thought. That's nothing to be ashamed of. I opened my mouth to argue, then I stopped, because I realized what was happening. She wasn't going to admit what she'd done. She was going to gaslight me, make me doubt myself, make me look incompetent. And if I kept pushing, she'd paint me as unstable, paranoid, unable to handle the stress of running a business. So I changed tactics. You're right, I said quietly. I've been under a lot of stress. Maybe I did miss something. Patricia's smile widened. It's all right, dear. That's why I'm here, to help, to make sure things don't fall through the cracks. I appreciate that. Good. Now, about this contract, since we're listed as partners, we should probably discuss how to divide the work and the payment. Of course. Let me think about it and get back to you. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. She stood, patted my hand, and left. I sat at my desk for a long time, staring at the contract. Patricia had forged a partnership agreement. She'd altered a legal document to insert herself into my business, and she thought I was too overwhelmed, too confused, too weak to do anything about it. She was wrong. That evening, I called my attorney. Her name was Lisa Brennan, and she specialized in business law. I'd worked with her before on client contracts. "Lisa, I need your help. Someone forged a partnership agreement and I need to know my options. Tell me everything." I walked her through it. The contract swap, Patricia's gaslighting, the client's confusion. Lisa was quiet for a moment. "Rebecca, this is fraud, document fraud, specifically. If you can prove she altered the contract, she could face criminal charges." "I don't want to press charges. Not yet. I just want to protect my business." "Then we need to act fast. Do you have a copy of the original contract? The one you actually signed?" I thought about it. "No. I signed the physical copy she gave me. I didn't keep a draft." "What about email? Did you send the draft to anyone? Did the client send you their version before Patricia got involved?" I opened my laptop and started searching. Emails, drafts, attachments. And then I found it. An email thread with the client's legal team from 3 weeks earlier, before Patricia had formatted the contract. Attached was their proposed agreement, with only my name listed as the consultant. "I have it," I said. "The client's original proposal. It only lists me." "Perfect. That's your evidence. Now here's what we're going to do." Lisa laid out a plan. Smart, strategic, and absolutely ruthless. I was going to let Patricia think she'd won. Let her believe the partnership was real. Let her get comfortable. And then I was going to pull the rug out from under her. The next day, I called Patricia. "I've been thinking about your suggestion, about dividing the work on the healthcare contract." "Oh, good. I'm so glad you're being reasonable about this. I think you're right. I have been under a lot of stress, and having a partner, someone with experience, would really help." "I think so too, dear. Why don't we make this official? Draw up a proper partnership agreement for Hayes Consulting?" There was a pause. "A partnership agreement?" "Yes. If we're going to be working together, we should formalize it. Profit sharing, decision-making authority, all of it. That way there's no confusion going forward." "Well, that seems a bit formal for family." "Exactly. Which is why we should do it right. Protect both of us. I'll have my attorney draft something." Another pause. Longer this time. "That's very thoughtful, Rebecca. But maybe we don't need to rush into paperwork. We can just see how it goes." I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "Patricia, you're listed as a partner on a 6-figure contract. We absolutely need paperwork. For tax purposes, if nothing else." "I suppose you're right." "Great. I'll have Lisa send over a draft. We can review it together." "Of course. Thank you, Rebecca." She hung up, and I knew I had her. Because Patricia had made a critical mistake. She'd forged one contract, but she couldn't forge a comprehensive partnership agreement reviewed by an attorney without exposing herself. She was trapped, and she didn't even know it yet. Lisa sent me the partnership agreement draft 2 days later. It was a masterpiece. 30 pages of dense legal language that looked official, binding, and ironclad. But buried in the details were clauses that would completely dismantle Patricia's scheme. I read through it 3 times, admiring Lisa's work. "This is perfect," I told her over the phone. "I included everything we discussed. The profit-sharing structure that requires documented capital contributions. The decision-making hierarchy based on actual business ownership. And my favorite, the clause requiring both partners to disclose all assets and previous business interests." She's going to hate that last one. She should, because if she signs this, she's legally certifying that she made legitimate capital contributions to the business, which we both know she didn't. If she lies, it's fraud. If she tells the truth, the partnership is invalid. Us? What if she just refuses to sign? Then she has to explain to the healthcare client why she's backing out of a contract she's listed on. Either way, she loses. I smiled. When should I send it to her? Give it a few days. Let her think everything's proceeding normally. Then hit her with it. In the meantime, I started documenting everything. Every email Patricia had sent from my business account. Every document she'd organized. Every meeting she'd attended. Every conversation we'd had about my business. I went through my files systematically, making copies, creating backups, building a timeline. I also started talking to my clients, casually, carefully. I'm doing some internal restructuring, I'd mention in passing, making sure all our contracts and agreements are properly documented. Would you mind sending me your original copy of our engagement letter? Most clients complied without question, and each time I compared their version to what was in my files. Patricia had been busy. 3 other contracts had been altered. Not as dramatically as the healthcare network agreement, but altered nonetheless. In one, she'd added herself as a consulting advisor with access to confidential client information. In another, she'd changed the payment terms to redirect a percentage of fees to a separate account I didn't recognize. In the third, she'd added a clause giving herself approval rights over major business decisions. Every change was subtle, easy to miss if you weren't looking carefully. But I was looking now, and I was furious. Eric noticed something was wrong. "You've been quiet lately," he said one evening over dinner. "Everything okay with work?" I looked at him carefully. "Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about. It's about your mother." His expression shifted immediately. Defensive. "What about her?" "I think she's been making changes to my business contracts without my permission." "What? That doesn't make sense. Why would she do that?" "I don't know, but I have evidence. Altered documents, forged signatures." "Rebecca, that's a serious accusation." "I know. That's why I'm telling you." He set down his fork. "You're saying my mother, who's been helping you for free, spending hours organizing your office, is committing fraud?" "I'm saying someone altered multiple contracts, and she's the only person who had access to them. Maybe you made the changes and forgot. You've been working crazy hours." I stared at him. "You think I'm imagining this?" "I think you're stressed, and I think you're looking for someone to blame." "Eric, my mother has done nothing but support you. She gave up her free time to help your business. And this is how you repay her? With accusations?" "I'm not accusing. I'm stating facts." "Facts? Or paranoid theories?" He stood up. "I can't believe you'd do this. I can't believe you'd try to turn me against my own mother." He left the kitchen. A minute later, I heard the bedroom door close. I sat there alone, staring at my half-eaten dinner. Eric had chosen his mother, without even looking at the evidence, without even considering that I might be telling the truth. That hurt more than Patricia's betrayal, because it meant I was truly on my own. The next morning, I sent Patricia the partnership agreement. Subject: Hayes Consulting Partnership Agreement. Please review. Patricia. As discussed, I've had my attorney draft a formal partnership agreement. Please review the attached document carefully. We'll need both signatures notarized before we can proceed with the healthcare network project. A few key points to note. Section 3. 2 requires documentation of all capital contributions. Section 5. 1 outlines decision-making authority based on ownership percentage. Section 8. 3 requires disclosure of all business assets and interests. Let me know if you have any questions. We should plan to sign by the end of the week. Rebecca. I hit send and waited. Patricia called within an hour. Rebecca, I'm looking at this partnership agreement. Good. What do you think? It's very detailed. That's what good contracts are. Detailed, comprehensive. Some of these clauses seem unnecessary, like this section about capital contributions. I haven't invested money in your business. Exactly. which is why Section 4.7 addresses sweat equity and in-kind contributions. But those need to be documented and valued. Valued? Yes. We'll need to assign a dollar amount to your administrative work. For tax purposes, my accountant can help with that. Silence. Patricia? I'm not sure this is necessary. We're family. We don't need all this legal language. We absolutely do. Especially since you're listed on a major client contract. If anything goes wrong, if the client sues, if there's a dispute, if the IRS audits us, we both need to be protected. I understand, but also Section 8.3 requires that we disclose all business interests and assets. That's standard for any partnership. You'll need to provide documentation of your rental properties, any investment accounts, that sort of thing. Another long silence. Rebecca, I don't think I'm comfortable sharing all of my financial information. Then we can't move forward with the partnership. The IRS requires it. If we're claiming business expenses, sharing profits, making joint decisions, all of that has to be documented and disclosed. This seems overly complicated. It's actually quite standard. I can send you examples of other partnership agreements if you'd like to compare. No, that's not necessary. She took a breath. Can we discuss this in person, tomorrow? Of course. Come to my office at 10. I'll be there. She hung up. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. Patricia was panicking. She'd forged her way into my business thinking she could control it. But she hadn't anticipated that I'd demand proper documentation, legal accountability, financial disclosure. Now she had two choices: sign the agreement and expose herself, or back out and lose everything. Either way, I won. That evening, Eric confronted me. My mother called. She's upset about some partnership agreement you sent her. It's a standard business document, required if we're going to work together officially. She says it's invasive, that you're demanding access to all her financial records. That's not accurate. I'm requiring the same disclosures any partnership would require. It's completely normal. It doesn't sound normal. It sounds like you're trying to intimidate her. I looked at him carefully. Eric, your mother inserted herself into a client contract without my knowledge. She altered legal documents. She's claiming partnership rights to a business she has no ownership in. I'm trying to formalize the relationship she claims already exists. If she's not comfortable with that, maybe she should explain why. Or maybe you should stop attacking her. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm protecting my business. Your business. He said it like an accusation. It's always about your business, your clients, your success. What about us? What about our marriage? What about it, Eric? Because right now, it feels like you care more about protecting your mother than supporting your wife. That's not fair. Isn't it? I came to you with evidence of fraud, and your first instinct was to defend her and accuse me of being paranoid. Because I know my mother. She wouldn't do what you're claiming. You mean you don't want to believe she'd do it? There's a difference. He stared at me for a long moment. I don't know who you are anymore. I'm the same person I've always been. I'm just not letting people take advantage of me anymore. If that's how you see my mother, as someone taking advantage of you, then maybe we have bigger problems than I thought. He walked out. I heard the front door close, the car start. He was leaving. I sat down on the couch, feeling the weight of everything settling on my shoulders. My mother-in-law was trying to steal my business. My husband was defending her, and I was completely alone. But I wasn't defeated, not even close. The next morning, Patricia arrived at my office at exactly 10 o'clock. She was dressed impeccably, navy suit, pearls, perfect makeup. She looked like she was going to a board meeting, not a discussion with her daughter-in-law. Rebecca, thank you for meeting with me. Of course, please sit. She settled into the chair across from my desk, her posture perfect, her expression composed. I've been thinking about this partnership agreement, she began, and I've come to a decision. I'm listening. I don't think a formal partnership is the right structure for us. It's too complicated, too much paperwork, too much oversight. Oversight. Yes. All these requirements about financial disclosure, capital contributions, decision-making hierarchies. It feels more like a corporate merger than a family collaboration. That's because it is a business arrangement. Regardless of our family relationship, we need proper documentation. I disagree. I think we can work together informally. I'll continue helping with administrative tasks, and you can compensate me as you see fit. No contracts, no partnership agreements. Just family helping family. I leaned back in my chair. Patricia, you're already listed as a partner on the healthcare network contract. That's a legal document, a binding agreement. We can't just ignore it. Then we should have the contract revised. Remove my name. List you as the sole consultant. I see. And why would we do that? She hesitated. Because I think you were right. I overstepped. I got too involved in the business side of things when I should have just focused on administrative support. You're saying you want out? I'm saying we should reset. Go back to how things were before. I pulled out a folder from my desk drawer. Inside were copies of all the altered contracts. I slid them across the desk. Before we do that, I need you to explain these. Patricia opened the folder. Her face remained calm, but I saw her hands tighten slightly on the papers. What am I looking at? Contracts, client agreements. All of them altered after I signed them. All of them with your handwriting in the margins. I don't understand. Yes, you do. You changed these documents. You added yourself as a partner, redirected payments, gave yourself approval rights, all without my knowledge or consent. She looked up at me, her expression still composed. Rebecca, I think you're confused. I helped you format these documents. That's not the same as altering them. I have the original versions, from the clients. They don't match what's in my files. Then perhaps the clients made changes after the fact. All of them. Multiple clients, all making identical unauthorized changes? I don't know. But I certainly didn't make any changes without your approval. I pulled out another document, the email thread with the healthcare network's legal team, showing the original contract language. This is from before you helped with the formatting. No mention of a partnership, no mention of your name, just me, as the sole consultant. Patricia's jaw tightened, just slightly, but I saw it. If there are discrepancies, perhaps we should discuss them with an attorney present, to make sure we're all understanding the situation correctly. Good idea. I've already spoken to mine. She's prepared to file a complaint with the State Bar Association. Document fraud, forgery, possibly embezzlement, depending on where those redirected payments went. Patricia went very still. You wouldn't. Why wouldn't I? Because I'm Eric's mother, because we're family. And you're committing fraud against a family member. That actually makes it worse, not better. She stared at me, her mask finally slipping. I saw anger there, and fear. What do you want, Rebecca? I want you to sign a document acknowledging that you have no ownership interest in Hayes Consulting, that you made no capital contributions, that you have no decision-making authority. And I want you to contact every client you added yourself to and remove your name from their contracts. And if I don't, then I file criminal charges. And I make sure every client, every business contact, every person in our professional network knows exactly what you did. Patricia's face went pale. Actually pale, because she understood what that meant. Her reputation, the thing she valued most, would be destroyed. She'd be known as the woman who tried to steal her daughter-in-law's business. She'd be a cautionary tale. You'd really do that? She whispered. You'd destroy me. You tried to destroy me first. I'm just defending myself. She looked down at her hands. For the first time since I'd known her, Patricia looked small, uncertain. "I was trying to help," she said quietly. "You were struggling, working too much. I thought if I took on more responsibility, if I became a real partner, I could make things easier for you. By forging contracts, by proving I was valuable, that I could contribute something meaningful." Her voice cracked. "Do you know what it's like to watch your son build a life with someone and to feel completely irrelevant? To feel like you're being pushed aside?" I felt a flicker of something. Not sympathy exactly, but understanding. "So you decided to insert yourself into my business. I decided to make myself indispensable, so you couldn't push me out." "I never tried to push you out, Patricia. Didn't you? You moved to a different city. You built a career I don't understand. You filled Eric's life with things I can't be part of. I was being erased, slowly, steadily, so I fought back the only way I knew how. By committing fraud." She looked up at me, and I saw tears in her eyes. Real tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far." I wanted to believe her. Part of me did. But the other part, the part that had seen the altered contracts, the redirected payments, the systematic takeover of my business, knew better. Patricia wasn't sorry she'd done it. She was sorry she'd been caught. "Sign the document," I said. "Remove your name from the contracts and stay out of my business permanently." She nodded slowly. "And you won't press charges?" "Not if you do exactly what I'm asking, immediately." "Okay." She wiped her eyes. "Okay, I'll do it." I pulled out the document Lisa had prepared. A simple one-page acknowledgement that Patricia had no ownership interest in Hayes Consulting. She signed it. Her hand was shaking. I witnessed her signature, then made a copy for my records. "I'll contact the clients today," she said quietly. "I'll tell them there was an administrative error, that I shouldn't have been listed on the contracts." "Good." She stood to leave, then paused. "Rebecca? Yes? Does Eric know about the fraud?" I told him I had concerns. "He didn't believe me." She nodded slowly. "He won't believe you now either. He'll think you forced me to sign that document, that you manipulated me. Let him think whatever he wants. He's going to be angry at you." "I know." She looked at me for a long moment. "You're stronger than I thought." "I've had to be." She left without another word. I sat at my desk, staring at the signed document. I'd won. Patricia was out of my business. The contracts would be corrected. My company was mine again. But the cost was becoming clear. My marriage was falling apart. My husband had chosen his mother over me. And I was about to lose everything I'd tried to protect. That evening, Eric came home. I heard him before I saw him. His car in the driveway. The front door slamming, his footsteps heavy on the hardwood floor. He found me in the kitchen, making dinner. My mother called me, in tears. I didn't turn around. "I see." She said you threatened her, accused her of fraud, forced her to sign some document giving up rights to your business. "That's partially accurate." "Partially?" His voice rose. "She's devastated, Rebecca. She thinks you hate her." I turned to face him. "Your mother tried to steal my business, Eric. She forged contracts. She added herself as a partner without my consent. She redirected client payments. That's not help. That's fraud." "That's your interpretation." "It's not interpretation, it's fact. I have evidence, original contracts, altered documents, email trails. Evidence you probably fabricated." I stared at him. "You think I fabricated evidence to frame your mother?" "I think you've been looking for a reason to push her out of our lives, and you found one." "Eric, no. I'm done listening to your accusations. My mother has done nothing but try to help you. And you've repaid her with paranoia and cruelty." "I repaid her by protecting my business. Your business. Always your business." He shook his head. "Do you know what she told me? She said you made her sign a document under duress, that you threatened to destroy her reputation if she didn't comply. Is that true? I gave her a choice. Sign an acknowledgement that she has no ownership in my company, or face criminal charges for fraud. That's not duress. That's accountability. You threatened my mother. I defended myself. This is insane. You're insane. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Get out. What? Get out of this house. Now. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. It's mine. I bought it before we got married. My name is on the deed. Yours isn't. His face went red. You can't just kick me out. I can, and I am. You have until tomorrow to pack your things. After that, I'm changing the locks. Rebecca, you chose your mother over me, Eric. You believed her lies over my evidence. You called me insane for protecting myself. We're done. You don't mean that. I absolutely mean it. I've spent 6 years trying to navigate your mother's manipulation. 6 years biting my tongue, making excuses, letting things slide. I'm done. And I'm done with a husband who enables her. He stared at me, his mouth opening and closing. Finally, he said, "You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner." He grabbed his keys and left. I heard the car start, the tires screech as he pulled out of the driveway. Then silence. I stood in the kitchen, alone, my hands shaking. I'd just blown up my marriage, but I'd saved my business. And right now, that had to be enough. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls, 12 from Eric, 3 from Patricia, 2 from numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored all of them and made coffee. My phone buzzed again, a text from Eric's number, but the tone was all Patricia. "You've made a terrible mistake. Eric is devastated. This family will never forgive you for what you've done." I blocked the number. Another text came through, from Patricia's phone this time. "I did what you asked. I contacted the clients. I removed my name. But you should know, they're concerned about your stability, about whether you can handle these projects alone. You may have won this battle, but you've damaged your reputation in the process." I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I forwarded it to Lisa. She called me immediately. "That's a threat." "I know. She's trying to sabotage your client relationships. We can use this." "I don't want to use it. I just want her gone." "Rebecca, she's not going to go quietly. People like Patricia don't accept defeat. They regroup. They find new angles of attack. You need to be prepared for that." "What do you suggest?" "Document everything. Every call, every text, every conversation. If she contacts your clients again, if she spreads false information about you, if she does anything to damage your business, we file for a restraining order, and we pursue civil damages for interference with business relationships." "That'll make everything worse. Eric is already against you. You can't make him angrier than he already is. What you can do is protect yourself legally." She was right. I knew she was right, but it didn't make it any easier. I spent the morning calling clients. "Hi, this is Rebecca from Hayes Consulting. I wanted to touch base about our current project and clarify some recent administrative changes." Each conversation was carefully calibrated, professional, reassuring. I explained that Patricia had been helping with administrative tasks but was no longer involved with the business, that any contract changes she'd mentioned were errors and had been corrected. Most clients were understanding. A few were confused. One, the healthcare network, asked pointed questions. "Rebecca, we received an email from Patricia yesterday saying she was stepping back due to unforeseen family circumstances. Is everything all right?" I kept my voice steady. "Everything's fine. Patricia was helping on a volunteer basis, but we've decided to restructure how we handle administrative support. It won't affect your project at all." She also mentioned there might be delays due to internal transitions. Should we be concerned? My jaw tightened. Patricia was planting seeds of doubt. There are no delays. Our timeline remains exactly as planned. In fact, I've hired additional support to ensure we stay ahead of schedule. That wasn't entirely true, but I'd make it true. Okay, good. We just want to make sure this project stays on track. It will. You have my word. After I hung up, I sat at my desk, fuming. Patricia was subtle. She wasn't overtly bad-mouthing me. She was just raising concerns, planting questions, making clients wonder if I was reliable. It was psychological warfare, and she was good at it. But I was better. That afternoon, I did something I'd been putting off. I hired a full-time business manager. Her name was Diane Chen, and she came with 15 years of experience managing consulting practices. She was efficient, detail-oriented, and had impeccable references. More importantly, she wasn't family. I need someone who can handle client relations, contract administration, and project coordination, I told her during the interview. I've been doing too much myself and I need to delegate. What happened to your previous assistant? It didn't work out. Long story. Diane nodded, not pressing. I can start immediately. I'd want to do a full audit of your current systems first. Contracts, billing, client communications. Make sure everything's organized and documented properly. That's exactly what I need. We shook hands. She started the next day. Within a week, Diane had reorganized my entire operation. She set up new project management systems, standardized contract templates, and implemented checks and balances to prevent unauthorized changes. You had some serious vulnerabilities in your processes, she told me. Anyone with access to your files could have made changes without leaving a clear trail. I know. That's been corrected now. Good. Because I found 3 contracts that had inconsistencies between your files and what clients had on record. I've reached out to each client to reconcile the differences. My stomach tightened. What did you find? Mostly small things. Payment terms that didn't match. Scope of work language that varied slightly. One contract that listed a second consultant who the client didn't remember agreeing to. What did you tell them? That we were conducting an internal audit and found some administrative errors. That we were correcting everything and providing updated contracts for their signature. They were all fine with it. I exhaled slowly. Thank you, Diane. That's what you're paying me for. She paused. Can I ask you something? Of course. These errors, they weren't random, were they? Someone was making intentional changes. I met her eyes. She was sharp, perceptive. Yes, but that person is no longer involved with the business. Good, because if this had gone on much longer, you could have faced serious legal issues, breach of contract, fraud allegations, even malpractice claims. I'm aware. Just making sure, because whoever did this wasn't just being careless, they were setting you up for failure. She was right. And hearing it from someone objective, someone who had no emotional stake in the situation, made it real in a way it hadn't been before. Patricia hadn't just been trying to take over my business. She'd been trying to destroy it. Eric moved out the following weekend. He came by while I was at a client meeting, packed his belongings, and left his key on the kitchen counter. No note, no explanation. Just an empty closet and a forwarding address scrawled on a sticky note. His mother's address. I stood in our bedroom, my bedroom now, and looked at the empty space where his things had been. I should have felt sad, heartbroken, devastated that my marriage was over. Instead, I felt relieved. The constant tension was gone, the gaslighting, the defending of his mother's behavior, the implication that I was crazy, paranoid, vindictive. I didn't have to walk on eggshells anymore. I didn't have to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. I was free. 2 weeks later, I received divorce papers. Eric was filing. He cited irreconcilable differences and was seeking division of marital assets. I called Lisa immediately. He's making a claim on your business. What? Hayes Consulting existed before we got married. I know. But he's arguing that it grew significantly during the marriage and that he provided emotional and financial support that contributed to that growth. That's ridiculous. I built this business myself. I agree, but we'll need to prove it. Can you document your revenue year by year? Show that the major growth happened after the business was established? That your success was due to your own work and not any contributions from Eric? Absolutely. I have all the financial records. Good. Send me everything. Bank statements, tax returns, client contracts. I'll build a timeline showing exactly how and when your business grew. What about the house? The house is yours. Your name is on the deed. You bought it before the marriage. He has no claim to it. He's going to argue he paid some of the mortgage. Then we'll calculate his contributions and offer a reasonable buyout. But the house stays yours. I felt some of the tension leave my shoulders. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Rebecca, I need to ask you something. Are you prepared for this to get ugly? What do you mean? Eric's attorney is going to paint you as unreasonable, vindictive, someone who destroyed her marriage over a grudge against her mother-in-law. They're going to use Patricia's version of events, that she was just trying to help, and you overreacted. Let them. I have evidence. Evidence of contract fraud, which Patricia has already walked back. She's claiming now that you misunderstood her assistance, that there was a miscommunication, that she never intended to take over your business. That's a lie. I know, but it's her word against yours, and she's got Eric backing her up. I closed my eyes. So, what do? We stick to the facts. We show that your business is yours alone. We demonstrate that Eric made minimal contributions to its success. And we make it clear that you're willing to be fair in the asset division, but you're not giving away what you built. Okay. And Rebecca? Be prepared for them to get personal. Patricia's going to try to make you look unstable, controlling, paranoid. She's going to tell everyone who'll listen that you turned her son against her. She turned him against me. We know that, but the court doesn't care about family drama. The court cares about assets, contributions, and what's equitable. Keep your focus there. The divorce proceedings dragged on for months. Eric's attorney requested financial discovery, bank records, business documents, tax returns for the past 6 years. I provided everything, meticulously organized by Diane. They requested depositions. I sat in a conference room for 6 hours while Eric's attorney asked me pointed questions about my business, my marriage, my relationship with Patricia. Isn't it true that you refused to let Patricia be involved in family decisions? No. Isn't it true that you felt threatened by her close relationship with your husband? No. Isn't it true that you fabricated evidence of contract fraud in order to force her out of your life? Absolutely not. On and on. Question after question designed to make me look unreasonable. I kept my answers short, factual, emotionless. Lisa had coached me well. Then it was my turn. Lisa deposed Eric, asked him about his financial contributions to my business. Did you invest capital in Hayes Consulting? No, but I provided emotional support. Can you quantify that support in dollar terms? That's not fair. You can't put a price on emotional support. Did you work for Hayes Consulting? Provide consulting services? Bring in clients? No. But did you help with administrative tasks? Marketing? Business development? No, but Rebecca couldn't have succeeded without my support at home. What support specifically? Eric faltered. I was there for her, when she was stressed, when she needed someone to talk to. And you believe that entitles you to a portion of her business? I believe marriage is a partnership. What's hers should be partly mine. Lisa let that statement hang in the air. Then she asked, Did Rebecca benefit from your income during the marriage? Of course, we shared expenses. What percentage of household expenses did you cover? I don't know exactly. Approximately? Maybe. 30%? 40, and Rebecca covered the remaining 60 to 70%. She made more money. It made sense for her to pay more. So she contributed more financially to the household, built her business with her own capital and labor, and now you're seeking a portion of that business because you provided emotional support? Eric's attorney objected, argumentative. But the damage was done. We finally reached a settlement 4 months after Eric filed for divorce. He got $75 Rowan dollars, roughly equivalent to his contributions to the mortgage and household expenses over 6 years. He got his car, his personal belongings, and his retirement account. I kept Hayes Consulting, the house, my retirement accounts, my business assets. Most importantly, I kept my reputation. The settlement included a mutual non-disparagement clause. Neither Eric nor I could speak negatively about the other in public or to professional contacts, which meant Patricia couldn't use him as a proxy to badmouth me anymore. "You won," Lisa said when the papers were signed. "Completely." "It doesn't feel like winning. That's because you lost your marriage, but you saved your business. And yourself. That matters." She was right, but it still hurt. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, something unexpected happened. I got a call from one of Patricia's former colleagues, a woman named Margaret who'd worked with her in pharmaceutical sales. "Rebecca, I hope I'm not overstepping by calling. I got your number from a mutual friend." "It's fine. What can I do for you?" "I wanted to warn you about something. Patricia's been talking. About you. About your business. She's telling people you're unstable. That you had a breakdown and forced her out of a business partnership she'd helped build." My jaw tightened. "She signed a document acknowledging she had no ownership in my business." "I know. But she's not telling people that part. She's painting herself as the victim, and some people are believing her." "Why are you telling me this?" Margaret hesitated. "Because I know Patricia. I worked with her for 10 years, and I've seen her do this before." "Do what?" "Rewrite history. She had a business partner once back in the 90s. They started a small medical equipment sales company together. Within 2 years, Patricia had pushed her partner out and taken over completely. She told everyone the partner was incompetent, unreliable, couldn't handle the stress. What really happened? The partner was talented, maybe more talented than Patricia, and Patricia couldn't handle it, so she systematically undermined her, made her look bad to clients, created situations where she'd fail. Eventually, the partner gave up and walked away. Patricia got the whole business. I felt a chill run down my spine. What happened to the business? Patricia ran it for 5 years, then she sold it and went into pharmaceutical sales, made a fortune. But the original partner? Last I heard, she'd left the industry completely. Patricia's smear campaign destroyed her reputation. Why are you telling me this now? Because I don't want to see it happen again. Patricia's good at playing the victim. She's good at making people believe her version of events. And once she destroys your reputation, it's almost impossible to rebuild it. What do you suggest I do? Fight back, publicly, before she controls the narrative. I thought about Margaret's advice for a long time. Part of me wanted to let it go, to move on, to focus on my business and forget about Patricia's poisonous gossip. But the other part, the part that had seen what she'd done to my contracts, my marriage, my sense of reality, knew Margaret was right. Patricia was still fighting, and if I didn't fight back, she'd win. So I did something I'd never done before. I wrote an article. It was published in a regional business journal, a piece about contract fraud in small businesses and how to protect yourself. I didn't name Patricia. I didn't have to. I described the pattern. A trusted individual gaining access to business documents, making small, subtle changes, inserting themselves into partnerships they had no right to, using family relationships to avoid scrutiny. I outlined the warning signs, the red flags, the steps business owners should take to protect themselves, and I shared my story. anonymously but detailed enough that anyone who knew the situation would recognize it. The article went viral in business circles. I got calls from other consultants, other small business owners, dozens of them. This happened to me. My business partner's spouse did exactly this. I thought I was going crazy. Apparently, Patricia's playbook wasn't as unique as I'd thought, and now people were talking about it. 2 weeks after the article published, I got a call from Eric. That article. That was about my mother, wasn't it? It was about contract fraud, which your mother committed. You didn't name her. I didn't have to. You know people are talking, people we know. They're putting the pieces together. Then maybe your mother shouldn't have committed fraud. She's humiliated. People are avoiding her. She can't show her face at social events anymore. That's unfortunate. But it's not my problem. You destroyed her, Rebecca. No, Eric. She destroyed herself. I just stopped letting her destroy me. He was quiet for a long moment. Was it worth it? Losing our marriage? Turning the family against you? All for your business? Yes, because my business is mine. I built it. I earned it. And I'm not going to apologize for protecting what's mine. You've become so cold. I've become strong. There's a difference. He hung up. I sat at my desk, staring at my phone, and I realized something. I didn't feel guilty anymore. I didn't feel conflicted. I felt free. A year after the divorce, I attended a business networking event in downtown Denver. It was the kind of gathering I used to avoid. Too much small talk, too much posturing. But Diane had insisted. You need to be visible, she'd said. Let people see that you're thriving. She was right. I walked into the hotel ballroom wearing a navy suit and the confidence I'd earned through a year of rebuilding. Hayes Consulting had doubled its revenue. I'd landed 4 major clients. I'd been featured in 2 industry publications. I was succeeding. Visibly. Undeniably. And then I saw her. Patricia. She was standing near the bar talking to a small group of people. She looked older than I remembered. Thinner. There was a brittleness to her posture that hadn't been there before. Our eyes met across the room. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Patricia excused herself from her group and walked toward me. My first instinct was to leave, to avoid the confrontation, but I didn't. I stood my ground. Rebecca, her voice was quiet, careful. Patricia, you look well. Thank you. So do you. It was a polite lie. She glanced around the room, then back at me. I was hoping I might run into you. I've wanted to talk. I don't think there's anything left to say. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I nodded. We found a quiet corner away from the crowd. Patricia folded her hands, and I noticed they were shaking slightly. I owe you an apology, she said. A real one. Not the half-hearted excuse I gave you before. I waited. What I did was wrong. The contract changes, the manipulation, all of it. I told myself I was helping, but I was really just trying to control something, someone, because I felt powerless in my own life. Why are you telling me this now? Because Eric and I barely speak anymore. He blames me for the divorce, for ruining his marriage, and he's right. Her voice cracked. I destroyed the most important relationship in my son's life because I was jealous of you. Jealous. You're everything I tried to be and couldn't. Independent, successful, strong. You didn't need anyone's permission to build your life. And that terrified me, because it highlighted everything I'd failed at. I studied her carefully. She looked genuinely broken. That doesn't excuse what you did. I know, nothing excuses it. But I wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I became. And I'm ashamed. We stood in silence for a moment. How is Eric? I asked, surprising myself. Lost? Angry? He moved to Seattle 6 months ago. New job, fresh start. We talk maybe once a month. She looked at me. He asks about you sometimes. What do you tell him? The truth. That I ruined everything. That you were right to protect yourself. She paused. He doesn't want to hear it. He's not ready to admit that he chose wrong, that he should have believed you. Maybe he'll get there eventually. Maybe. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I'm not asking for it. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I did, and that I'm sorry. I looked at this woman who'd tried to destroy me, who'd manipulated contracts, gaslit me, turned my husband against me, and I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no vindication, just exhaustion. I appreciate the apology, Patricia, but I've moved on. I've built a life that doesn't include you or Eric, and I'm happy. She nodded slowly. I'm glad. You deserve to be happy. She turned to leave, then stopped. That article you wrote about contract fraud, it helped people. I've heard from 3 different women who said it gave them the courage to protect their businesses from similar situations. Good. You're making a difference, Rebecca. A real one. That's something to be proud of. She walked away. I watched her go, this woman who'd once loomed so large in my life, now just another person at a networking event. Small, powerless, irrelevant. I'll epilogue. 2 years after Patricia tried to take over my business, Hayes Consulting has become exactly what I envisioned. I have a team of 5 now. Diane manages operations. I focus on strategy and client relations. We've expanded into 3 states and are considering national reach. I bought a larger house, got a dog, started dating again, casually, carefully, but without the baggage I carried before. I still see Eric's name occasionally. LinkedIn updates about his new position, mentions in industry newsletters. He's doing fine, building a career in Seattle, living his life. We don't speak. We don't need to. Patricia sent me a card last Christmas. Simple, appropriate. Wishing you continued success. P. I didn't respond, but I didn't throw it away either. Some wounds heal. Others just stop hurting. What I learned. My mother-in-law tried to steal my business by altering contracts and inserting herself as a partner without my knowledge. She thought I was too busy, too trusting, too polite to fight back. She was wrong. I documented everything. I built an airtight case. I used her own actions against her, and I reclaimed what was mine. The cost was my marriage, my relationship with Eric, years of stress and legal battles. But I gained something more valuable. Myself. I learned that being nice doesn't protect you from people who see kindness as weakness. I learned that family relationships don't exempt anyone from accountability. I learned that sometimes the only way to win is to be willing to lose everything. And most importantly, I learned that I'm strong enough to stand alone. To anyone in a similar situation. If someone is trying to take what's yours, whether it's your business, your reputation, or your sense of reality, fight back. Intelligently, strategically, ruthlessly. Document everything. Save emails. Keep records. Build your evidence quietly. Don't trust people just because they're family. Trust is earned, not inherited. Set boundaries. Enforce them. Walk away from anyone who violates them repeatedly. Your success doesn't require anyone's permission. Your happiness doesn't require anyone's approval. And if protecting yourself costs you relationships, those relationships weren't worth keeping. My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 35 years old. I run a successful consulting firm with my name on it. A firm I built, a firm I fought for, a firm that's completely, legally, unquestionably mine. My mother-in-law tried to take it from me. She failed, and I've never looked back. Patricia thought she could manipulate contracts and claim ownership of something she never built. She thought I wouldn't notice, or wouldn't care. or wouldn't fight back. She learned the hard way: never underestimate a woman who knows her worth. And never try to steal from someone who reads every line of every contract, including the ones you think you've hidden.